Hello, my friends. Welcome. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I decided to create a website for us so that I could send. I know some of you like to follow along while we learn. And tonight, we are learning about MKUltra. In order to learn about MKUltra, though, you're from Colorado? Welcome. I lived in Breck for like a decade. Yay. Okay, so in order to understand, for me to explain what MKUltra is, we have to go back to World War II, my favorite time, well, in history. And we are going to go to the Nazis. So, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. I am going to be extra mindful to be sure that you guys can see what I am looking at while I'm presenting it, because we did a reading on a girl last week in our members only live that I'll make myself bigger for right now. Okay, we did a members only live last week that we did a reading, and I wanted to share it with you guys, but when I was going back and forth, you can't see it, it annoyed me. So I haven't set sacred space yet, and I'm going to set sacred space. And then I started building this little website because I know some of our lovely friends like to follow along. Hello, I'm so glad you guys are here. Yay. Oh, all over. And I'm glad to hear that Tuesday works better for you. Oh, welcome. It works better for you guys. I think I like it better too. My whole family is around on Monday nights, so it's kind of fun to hang out. Okay, so, and if anyone, I don't have my phone here. I was going to say, if anyone had my phone number and could text me, if you can't see what we're talking about, then we'll make it work. All right, so let's get going. We are going to talk about MKUltra. Before we can talk about MKUltra, I hope that our one lovely dear friend, Lollipop, is here. Before we can talk about it, though, we need to start with Operation Paperclip. I'm going to pull up one more. Oh, and if any of our friends are in here that would like to follow along, I will put the link in the show, in these notes, so that you can follow along. I'm putting the link in to the notes. I'm going to work on it after we get done with this. But if you want to follow along right now, it's going to go in the notes. Okay. So there it is. All right. In order for us to talk about Operation Paperclip, though, we need to talk about I don't know if we're allowed to say the N word. The N is in NAZI. So this document is pulling up, and I'm going, okay, can't really see this yet. I will make myself smaller and make it bigger. Oh. All right, let's see. So you guys can see this. I like it better, bigger. All right, so before we can talk about MKUltra, we need to talk about about America. And what America did, and this is a huge black stain on the consciousness of America. It's something as a soul collective that I don't think we've started working through it yet, but it is something collectively we will work through. That is the massacre. I mean, it is a genocide of the Native Americans and the slaves. In the U.S. Constitution, we wrote that it was that the founding fathers wrote that it was okay to own humans, and Thomas Jefferson spoke about the need to eliminate or extirpate Native Americans. In 1856, in Oregon, I just think of the Oregon Trail, wrote that extermination, however unchristian-like it may appear, seems to be the only resort left for the protection of life and property. Okay, so this is what brings in World War II. When I know we can say the word Hitler. When Hitler was writing the laws to keep Jews out, he looked to America because we had already done it. He praised the Aryan America and how we conquered our own we had our own continent. The Aryan conquered its own planet. The soil of natives, by clearing the soil of natives to make room for more racially pure settlers. Here's our man. He was very loved among the people. This was a slow drip. That's why I always make comments about how this reminds me of Germany 1920s. They didn't introduce concentration camps and extermination of the Jews on day one. It took about a decade to get there. So he found his blueprint, and this is in Mein Kampf. If anyone has read it, it's excruciatingly boring, but it explains the blueprint for the German Empire by looking at the American West. They were not, if we can say the N-word, the Nazis were not wrong by citing the American precedent. The enslavement of slaves, African Americans, was written into the U.S. Constitution. So we have a long history of our own genocide that doesn't get made, and it's not in our history books. In 1935, Germany passed two laws, and I'm going to show you those. What America taught Germany was racism. He had a Jewish girlfriend too, Hitler did, just so you know. And in 1935, Nazi Germany passed two radically discriminatory pieces of legislation inspired by American laws. This is the Reich Citizenship Law and the Law for the Protection of German Blood and German Honor. Together, these were known as the Nuremberg Laws, and they laid the legal groundwork for the persecution of the Jewish people during the Holocaust and World War II. That's how they made it legal. They also did things like, what was the name of it? It's kind of like our Boy Scouts, but they're young children training to be Nazis. And that's another thing. And you can see that in our advertising. If you go to the children first, then they grow up and you have soldiers. This is Hitler. Okay, I'm going to make sure you guys can still see. Okay, phew. Hello, welcome all you states. I'm so glad you guys are here. All right, so in 1945, between 1945 and 1949 was an operation called Operation Paperclip. Annie Jacobson, or Jacobs, wrote an amazing book. If you have Audible, I highly recommend it. After the war, instead of punishing these scientists who were all guilty of war crimes, at Nuremberg, the US secretly brought over 1,600 Nazi doctors, engineers, and mind control experts under Operation Paperclip. This was a huge secret. It didn't come to public light until about 2007, and that was because a FOIA request, and I have the guy, I will give him credit. So what Operation Paperclip was, It was a program of the Office of Strategic Services. It's the predecessor to the CIA, where many of the former Nazi scientists from Germany were brought over to operate within the United States. It's believed that many of these scientists had been involved in many high-end technological advancements for the Nazis, such as flying discs. The Americans greatly wanted control of technology and intelligence at the end of World War II. The problem was that U.S. law prohibited German Nazis from immigrating to the United States. Well, that's introduced the CIA. The United States didn't want to lose these smart Nazis to other nations such as Russia, so a little handiwork by the future CIA director, Allen Dulles, tweaked a few things and got them over the United States to carry on many more top secret programs. This was the birth of what we know as today's CIA. So this is the beginning of MKUltra. In order to understand what MKUltra is, you have to understand the fathers of it. Here's a picture of Operation Paperclip, all smiling, war crimes, and the Mossad. Actually, there's a book about, they went down to Argentina and got a few of these guys. Many of these high-ranking Nazis were also in the SS was also what Hitler called his army. The brown coats or something is what they call them, but they had many direct ties to war crimes, and they were valued for their knowledge. Okay, and then this is a list of the doctors. Because what they did in the concentration camps, if you don't know that part, it's horrific. They did a lot of these human experiments, including mind control, on the people in the concentration camps. So this also started, just so you know, the mind control started probably in Atlantis, but I know Rome did it too. And then it was adopted into the Catholic Church around 1200, when the Church of Satan also was adopted into the Catholic Church. And that became I want to call it a breeding ground for teaching priests how to mind control their whole congregation. That goes into the Illuminati. We'll get to that, not tonight though. Okay. So we are now looking at, I just clicked over and now I can't find you. Oh, there we are. Okay, so here are these German scientists who were, one of them is the rocket right here. This not Werner von Braun. He's the V2 rocket engineer, but he's the head of NASA. Here he is, Werner von Braun, head of NASA. Come on over. He's here with JFK. And then we have Walter Hallstein. He's the head of the EU Commission. We gave them all huge, like the head of NASA, the head of the EU Commission. NATO's chief of staff was this guy right here, Adolf Hughes. Are there any German-speaking people in here? Can you help me with these pronunciations? Then we had the Secretary of the General of the United Nations. Okay, this is all going to play into the birth of the Illuminati as we know it today. These are all just like new names for ancient things, but this will birth or why we are going to spiral into human sacrifice, the worship of Baal. That comes from the Atlantean time, but we call it the Illuminati now. And it'll all start making sense now that we know the background. So, and the Germans were really good at propaganda and persuasion. When I studied the propaganda and persuasion, I studied this in school. We studied Germany. So this is, okay, another thing that I talk about and will become important to us is eugenics. Eugenics connects Jeffrey Epstein to this and the Illuminati. So it's basically Aryan purification and sterile. They like, wait until you, so eugenics is like the Aryan race, which is a misunderstanding of ancient text, in my opinion. American racism and German National Socialism. Here's von Braun. He's the head of NASA. He is not the known Satanist, but there is one that's coming up. I think he's kind of handsome for an old dead. I guess he's dead now, but I mean, for what it is. Okay, he was a high-ranking member of the Nazi Party, and he was a leading figure in the development of rocket technology in Nazi Germany, and later a pioneer of rocket and space technology in the United States. Right around 1950 is when the globe as a round object was introduced. And I'm not a flat earther. If there are any flat earthers in here, that's cool. And I'm not a believer of any of this. I just like the truth in history. Before that, it was always the dome, the way flat earthers think it is. I don't know. I'm not here to argue that part. I don't care, but I just think it's funny. Here is the S word. If you can read this, he was a cultist and the father of modern rocketry. He's also a Satanist. I know that. It doesn't say it here, but it says it in the article. And I'll connect all this stuff so you can read it. Okay, this is Dr. Death. I always forget his name, and you guys always help me out. He is a psycho. Probably a sociopath, psychopath, 100%. He did a lot of the twin experiments, and he escaped to Argentina, allegedly. He's Dr. Mengele. He's a nightmare. Okay. Ford was also highly involved. There was a lot of Rockefeller companies, BlackRock, we know it today, funding the Russians and the Germans. And this is a picture AI made for me because when I first read this, it's probably in that book by Annie Jacobson. Before we go into MKUltra, though, I pulled up this book because I wanted to read I'm just going to make sure that you guys can see this. Okay. Yes, Dr. Green. Yes, you're right. Mary Mags. Okay. Oh, Mengele, Dr. Death, Josef Mengele. Shoot, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. This book right here that you guys are looking at is Operation Paperclip, the intelligence program, the secret, because the CIA was born in deception, and we're in the age of Aquarius, right? And this is the truth. Everything that was built in the darkness must come to the light. They also, all right, so this is in the prologue to this book. Highly recommend it. This book is about Nazi scientists and the American government secrets. It's about how dark truths can be hidden from the public by U.S. officials in the name of national security. Does that ring any bells? 9/11. Obama, who I did love at the time, I'll be honest, has a horrendous track record of the most drones like civilian drone kills. He also made it legal for the U.S. government to lie to its people. So 6 news agencies own the news that's filtered into America. And therefore, if you listen to the news and you read it, it's coming from the same source. Well, there's 6 of them, all owned by the Rockefellers, BlackRock. And their job is to keep you scared and small. When you're in fear, they can feed. That's how you feed the dark side. Okay, this book is about dark truths can be hidden from the public by U.S. officials in the name of national security, September 11th. And it's about the unpredictable, often fortuitous circumstances through which the truth gets revealed. Operation Paperclip was a post-war U.S. intelligence program, CIA, that brought German scientists to America under secret military contracts. The program had a benign public face and a classified body of secrets and lies. I'm mad on technology, Hitler had told his inner circle at a dinner party in 1942. And in the aftermath of the German surrender, more than 1,600 of his technologists would become America's own. What follows puts a spotlight on 21 of these men. Under Operation Paperclip, which began in May of 1945, the scientists who helped the Third Reich wage war continued their weapons-related work for the U.S. government, developing rockets, chemical and biological weapons. Okay, we have to take a moment. Chemical and biological weapons. This is under the guise of the CIA, under the guise of something else, very bland, probably. I'm sure they didn't mention it ever, especially during that time. Chemical and biological weapons. Just remember that because it comes back. Ticks. Aviation and space medicine for enhancing military pilot and astronaut performance. This is MK Ultra. It is in these words. So MK Ultra, I haven't even gotten to MK Ultra yet because we have to lay the groundwork for the back. You have to understand where it comes from to understand what it is. And it was made by the best of the best. I mean, no one can argue with the Germans' ability for propaganda and persuasion other than the Catholic Church. Okay, so the last part of this that I just wanted to read is many other. Okay, so the Cold War era brought a bunch. Everything basically that we talk about now goes back to the Cold War. It brought paranoia, and we wanted to win the space race. That, in my personal opinion, we didn't go to the moon. That was just, I don't know what the point of that was, but regardless. Okay, I'm just going to finish this one little bit. And, okay, so we're in the Cold War. It's a race. This is when spy technology starts getting bigger. The Third Reich went on, okay. These doctors won lots of awards, noticed the UN. That is, in my personal, well, that's not an opinion, is run by the Illuminati. They have the same goal, which is one world order. We do want one world order. We just don't want it this way. Okay. Let's finish this one paragraph so that we can move on to Operation, or MK Ultra has many names, but I just want to finish this because this is a lot of psychopaths and sociopaths. Okay, so paranoia pace that came to define the Cold War. In the age of weapons and mass destruction, the age of weapons and mass destruction had begun, and with it came treacherous concept of brinkmanship, the art of pursuing dangerous policy to the limits of safety before stopping. Like, what kind of idiot blows up the planet when we have to live on it? Like, to me, this is so, I mean, if you drop an atomic bomb and you blow up the Earth, where are you going to live? The art of pursuing dangerous policies came at the limits of safety before stopping. Hiring dedicated Nazis was without precedent, entirely unprincipled and inherently dangerous, not just because, as Undersecretary of War Robert Patterson stated when debating if he could approve Paperclip, these men are our enemies, but because it was counter to democratic ideals. The men profiled in this book were not nominal Nazis. 8 of the 21, and the names are, this is Annie Jacobson. She names these Germans that the only one I recognize is Werner von Braun, and that's because he's NASA. But at some point, worked side by side with Adolf Hitler. Heinrich Himmler or Hermann Göring during the war. Those were like Hitler's inner circle. 15 of the 21 were dedicated members of the Nazi Party. 10 of them also joined the ultra-violent, ultra-nationalistic Nazi Party paramilitary squads. Paramilitary, Massachusetts State Patrol is a paramilitary squad. And that's not an opinion. To me, it is. The SA, those are the stormtroopers. That's the brown coats. And the SS were the ones right below it. Two wore golden party badges indicating favor bestowed by the Fuhrer, who was given an award who was given one of the he was given 1 million Reichmarks for scientific achievement. Oh, they did all the MK Ultra stuff under the guise of science. Many of the 21 stood trial at Nuremberg. A seventh were released without trial under mysterious circumstances, and an eighth stood trial in Dachau for regional war crimes. One was convicted of mass murder and slavery, bring him over to America, and serve some time in prison. They came to America at the behest of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Some officials believed that by endorsing the Paperclip program, they were accepting the lesser of two evils. That if America didn't recruit these scientists, the Soviet communists surely would. Other generals and colonels respected and admired these men also said so. To comprehend the impact of Operation Paperclip on American national security during these early days of the Cold War and the legacy of war-fighting technology it left behind, it is important to first understand that the program was governed out in office in the elite E-ring of the Pentagon Papers, the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency. So it was the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, was created solely and specifically to recruit and hire Nazi scientists and put them on weapons projects and scientific intelligence programs within the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the CIA, starting in 1947, and other organizations. In some cases, when the individual scientists had been too close to Hitler, the Joint Intelligence Objective Agency hired them to work at U.S. military facilities in occupied Germany. This agency was a subcommittee of the Joint Intelligence Committee. So that's like when the CIA did the investigation on itself and couldn't find any problems. Provided it's all under the guise of national security. Information for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The JIC remains the least known and least studied U.S. intelligence agency of the 20th century. To understand the mindset of the Joint Intelligence Committees, consider this. Within 1 year of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the JIC warned the Joint Chiefs of Staff that the United States needed to prepare for total war with the Soviets, including atomic, chemical, and biological warfare. And they even set an estimated start date of 1952. This book focuses on that uneasy period from 1945 to 1952, when the JIOA's recruitment of Nazi scientists was forever on the rise, accumulating in accelerated paperclip, which lowered individuals previously deemed undesirable to be brought into the United States, including Major General Dr. Walter Schreiberger, the Surgeon General of the Third Reich. Operation Paperclip left behind a legacy of ballistic missiles, sarin gas cluster bombs, underground bunkers, space capsules, and weaponized bubonic plague. That right there. Okay. It also left behind a trail of once secret documents that this author, Annie Jacobson, accessed to report this book, including post-war interrogation. That's one thing the Nazis were really good at, is paper keeping, including post-war interrogation reports, Army intelligence security dossiers, Nazi party paperwork, allied intelligence, I don't know what that is, reports, declassified JIOA memos, Nuremberg trial testimony, oral histories, a general disc of diaries and Nuremberg war crimes investigators' journal, coupled with exclusive interviews and correspondence with the children and grandchildren of these Nazi scientists, 5 of whom shared with me the personal papers and unpublished writings of their family members. What follows is the unsettling story of Operation Paperclip. Okay, so now that we have our background into Operation Paperclip, hi Quincy, we can, what leads into MK Ultra. And MK Ultra is, this is going to just be a high-level overview of what MK Ultra is. I could talk about Operation Paperclip forever because I feel like setting the groundwork is important. This is now declassified. MK Ultra didn't start in the 1950s. That's just when it got a new name. This started in, well, definitely in Atlantis, but the Romans used it too. In the 1950s, the roots of this program go back much further. First, the Nazi concentration camps, and before that, the plantations and the, the Native Americans too, where systems of trauma, dehumanization, and control were studied, perfected, and systemized. From slavery to science, Hitler, he openly stated that he modeled Nazi aspects control on the American system of slavery. After World War II, instead of being tried and executed, many top experts were secretly brought to the U.S. under a classified operation called Operation Paperclip. We just talked about that. And, they're inside, they started NASA, US, the CIA, their research, and this is in quotes, their research became the basis for MK Ultra, a CIA program designed to control human thought, memory, and behavior. Funded with black budget, so this is a huge problem. Well, the day before 9/11, the Pentagon lost like $21 billion or something. Don't quote me on that. But black budget, so it's off the books. MK Ultra drugged citizens without consent, electroshocked and tortured victims into obedience, split personalities. That right there is the beta and the kitten. Beta, what's the kitten program? I can't remember. Split personalities using trauma. DID formerly, it was formerly known as multiple personalities. They built sleeper agents. That's our beta program, spies, slaves, and entertainers, and tested their methods on children, prisoners, soldiers, and civilians. Just like in Nazi Germany, these techniques couldn't stay hidden forever. They were slowly embedded into media, music, and advertising, normalized through trauma-based entertainment, and used to control the culture, the perception, and rebellion. What they learned in the camps, then the CIA labs were deployed against the public. I should do like more of these because I would talk about this all day. Why this matters today. Well, they said it was officially shut down in the 70s. No. And then this is when a lot of the offshoots come in. The Monarch programming, you see that? Who would be a good example of Monarch programming? Katie, what's her name? She sings the song Dark Horse. Katy Perry, Project Artichoke, and Modern Psychological Warfare. Survivors are still coming forward, describing ritual abuse, trauma splitting, and handlers. Celebrities, politicians, whistleblowers, and even school children have been subjected to various variations of this. I would say all of the American public. The CIA, MK Ultra is not just a CIA project. It's a continuation of an ancient system of control, rebranded for the modern age. Funded by Black Ops money and hidden in plain sight through Hollywood. The CIA runs Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and pop culture. So what MK Ultra is, there are papers, and I don't have them right here, but I can find them. The CIA met with the Church of Scientology to really fast track their mind control. And the Catholic Church has been doing this since at least the 1200s. So what MK Ultra, and you don't usually know when it's happening. I haven't met any survivors or read any that they knew about it when it was happening. It is something that you suppress the memories like forever, and then it starts, like, you start getting fragments of memories. There was like a small crisis, I think it was about 5 years ago, that all of these sleepers were waking up, like they remembered what they were trained to do. So that's a high level overview of MK Ultra. And I'm going to look at the comments now, and so that we can, man, I could talk about that forever. Hello from Quincy. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. I'm back over here. I wanted to read these comments and say hello. Hello. I'm so glad. Oh, hello. Cheerios Keeper. Oh, I like that name. Hello, Deborah. Welcome. From Canton. Oh, good. Deborah, thank you for coming. How's the land in Canton? How's the vibe? I have questions. I used Canton as our, I guess it would be our testing ground for the rest of the globe to break all the black magic. Okay. Hi, Iowa. Oh, I love that state. That's a beautiful state. I'm manifesting. Oh, hi, Hippie Sue. I recognize your name. Oh, Cheerios. Cheerios Keeper. You're from Mass too? Wisconsin. Oh, my aunt and uncle. Some of my cousins live in Wisconsin. Hi, Mary Mags. Nora from Maine. Hello. Welcome. Oh, thank you for your help with the pronunciation of Dr. Death. And then I know I can see it, but I'm not pronouncing it right. Yeah. Also known as MK. Yes, Dr. Green. Dr. Mengele, he was also known as Dr. Green. In my experience, what I've heard or seen when I work with survivors is they have memories of going to like their mom's best friend or something, and they remember seeing a doctor. Hi, from Texas. Welcome. I love Texas. My husband was from there. Some of our friends are from Texas. Got caught up with life. Oh, Cheryl with an S. Don't you worry. Welcome from Quincy. Goodbye, Wednesday. Oh, I like that. Hi, everyone. Guru churches that are smaller do the same thing. Yes. Hello. Can we talk? Oh, I could talk about it forever, too. Keep going. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, I could talk about it forever. I love history. I even called UNH to see if they had a World War II history club. I just imagine like old dudes sitting around drinking coffee in the morning talking about history. I studied the Second World War from all angles. So I studied from the Russians, from the English, from the Italians, from American, because I needed to understand it. And I did call a college to see if they would let me in a study group or a group, but post office in Canton still feels negative. Okay. Do you have the papers to help with the earthwork for the healing on the earth? If you don't, they're in the description of this video. Can you help us with that? Because right now I'm working on something else it doesn't feel bigger than the post office, but it just feels it is a little bit bigger. If you can't, then I'll keep that post up. And any of our other friends that have those papers, can you help me with that? Hi from Boston. Welcome. I used to work in Boston. I'm a German Jew, and I appreciate you sharing this info. Oh, good. Thank you. No problem at all. I'm happy to do so. And I literally could talk history all day. Hello, welcome. I know nothing about this. That's okay. That's not your fault. It's designed to keep you in the dark. You wouldn't know about it, especially if you're an American. And Germans don't. German people that I know now that live in Germany don't really know anything about it either. It's designed to that you wouldn't know. That's okay. I've done a lot of the work for it, and I don't mind explaining it. My dead uncle was amazing. Oh, he does. Chrissy for Cats. I always think you're my friend, Chrissy. Welcome. Your uncle has amazing paintings hanging at the World War II Museum in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. That's cool. I love that. Oh, thanks, Mary Mags. Mary Mags is going to help us with the, the post office in Canton. I'm working on something else that isn't ready to talk about yet. As soon as I can, of course I will. We're still, we have the seed in the soil. I'm nurturing that seed. As soon as I can, I'll explain it. Now I don't feel bad. Thank you. Yeah, don't feel bad. It's literally designed to keep you in the dark with this stuff. And there's no reason that you would know this unless you have some weird obsession with World War II. And I can't explain it. It started with Abraham Lincoln. I was obsessed with him and Civil War. And then I loved the World War II. So you wouldn't know it. I probably learned about it when I was studying from the Russian point of view. Their point of view is probably where I was introduced to this. All the other stuff. Okay. The Wright Museum. Oh, I love that. Charlie Miller. Oh, we'll have to look him up. When people find out, yeah. So I did a reading one time. I don't even know what we can call him. I guess we'll just call him Obama. I did a reading one time on the chef that was about to release a book and then died in 2 inches of water, fell down a flight of stairs. And I got such a hard feeling of get that off of your computer. Don't post it. I think he's the Antichrist. I know he doesn't fit all of the things, but it's also all been edited so many times that I just trust my intuition, because I don't trust anything. But that's because it's been edited for whoever's in power. Kate, my grandpa fought in World War II. Hi, mine did too. My grandpa was a gunner in World War II. And on my Facebook, I have a picture from his house that we found when we were cleaning out his stuff. I want to show it to you. That's really cool. I don't know if my grandpa got anything. He never talked about the war, but what he did talk about, so this is a picture we got. I found at his house after he passed away. He was a gunner in the back of one of these. What are these bombers? B-52s. They were really cold. That's one of the things I read in his journal. Yeah, it was. And then they raised. Oh, you guys couldn't see it. Dang it. Here you go. This is one of the bombers that my grandpa. Or this is a picture that I found in my grandpa's stuff after he died. He never talked about the war, but what he did do was, after the war, he came home. He was only 17 when he got drafted, or he came home. He was 22 or 23. Started a family, very Catholic, and never wanted to be in charge of anyone or anything ever again. He took a job on the Ford factory floor, wouldn't take a manager or anything. He didn't want to have anything to do with being in charge of people. Anyway, my grandpa was a bomber, and I think these are B-52s back of that. That's why it's on my Facebook page. And now that it's really cool. They were told to never talk about, Vietnam is a heartbreaking story. But the Vietnam vets, Carolyn Mize wrote an awesome book. I love her. She's a New Hampshire lady. It's something about the Archetypes of America, I think is the name of the book. MYSS is her last name. She talks about the Vietnam vets, how they did something. That was the first time anyone said no to the government, because until, I mean, you wouldn't think that they're running black ops operations, losing billions of dollars. My grandpa was in the artillery tanks in World War II. Oh, that's cool. And so we were all raised by boomers. In my experience, I know she's not watching, so everyone understands what that means. Everything's always fine in my Catholic home. Yes, and not talking about it is how you keep control. They didn't give you the tool, give any of the vets tools to work through it or talk about it, PTSD or anything. It's very sad. So that's our lesson 1 of MK Ultra. I could literally, maybe we'll go more in depth. And I know I say this every week, but I really do want to do these more, especially the next 2 weeks the kids are gone. I do want to go into all the offshoots of MK Ultra. Like we just saw, what's his name? Ryan Reynolds just did an MK Ultra initiation. I'll find that video. I made a video about that once. All right, what time is it? 8:20. We have about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to jump over to members only. For our members only, I found the videos or the recordings I made of speaking of Canton, Jenny and Auntie Bev's higher self readings. If we want to talk about that, or we can talk more about MK Ultra. It depends. You guys tell me. We'll get over there. Hi, Kate. Welcome. Hi, Valerie, Lauren Rose. Thank you for your wisdom and all of the hard work you put forth. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, did any of you guys, are any of you getting anything intuitive? I saw an email from one of our lovely dear friends that Brian BK's dad did get, what is it? Threats. My grandfather was from Germany. His last name was Polhaus. Welcome. That's cool. I don't buy any of the ancestry stuff either because they're all connected to the same BlackRock. But that's my own personal humble thing. Let's talk about BK for a second. I just looked at some of the Steve, if you're in here, you might want to turn off because I'm about to be not as cool. What was happening? I don't know. What do you guys think happened with BK? I think that I don't know what they did to that poor boy. That's why he took a plea. Yeah, I don't know. No, I think he took a plea because they threatened to kill his family. That's my own personal humble opinion. And one of our friends emailed me that she saw somewhere that his dad was getting threats. Oh, thank you so much. No problem. I'm so glad you guys like learning about it. My best friend, she hates history. But for me, if I can't understand the root cause of the things, then I don't understand it. Or I don't have compassion. I'm judgy if I don't understand it. That's what I meant. Okay, wait. Yeah, no, thank you guys so much. I'm so glad you're all here. Thank you so much for coming. It's so fun. So now we have a little bit, a small base. You know, that's the Cliff Notes version of MK Ultra. How it got here was through Operation Paperclip. And don't feel bad if you've never heard of it. It's designed, the education system run by the same people is designed to keep you in the dark. If everyone knew the truth, I mean, there's a movie about Operation Paperclip, and I don't know what it's called, but I remember seeing it. The woman is like at a dinner party. It looks like in the 50s, and she looks over across the pool, and one of the doctors is a guest at the party. She was told that he had been killed. Oh, you haven't followed the BK story? That's okay. That's the Idaho 4 case. I just did a reading the other day on it because I wanted to know what they did to him. I don't know. Whatever they did to him, they did to Richard Allen too, I'm guessing. New member, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. I'm so happy to see you guys. And I'm so glad you're here and you'd like to learn about this stuff. Oh, I could talk about this stuff all day long. Have you read any of the documents? Which documents? I'm guessing, yes. I started a website. Oh, did I show you guys that? I'm sure I did. But I need to make it more private, or I have to work on it, but I made a website for it so that I can store everything there. Oops. This is what I wanted. That way I can, oh, thanks, Kelly. I think he took a plea deal when he found out that the DoorDash driver was going to testify and identify him. Oh, that sounds to me like a story out of Idaho, but I would love to listen. Okay. Kelly, thank you. That was awesome. I feel like that fits a narrative. I don't know. I don't buy it. I feel like that was written by the same people that are, I don't know. I don't buy it. I appreciate that, but I don't think I believed even the DoorDash driver. I thought that I'm not 100% convinced that the DoorDash driver is not Emma or whatever, that girl. I could listen to how and why MK Ultra does what they do. It's unreal. Oh yeah. Oh good. We will go into more MK Ultra. I'll do that next time. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, because there is so much information on MK Ultra. It's all declassified. A lot of it's declassified, and I have a lot of those documents. I just have to figure out this website that I'm making. There's some stuff that I work on with our research team that isn't for me to make public. It's not my story, but I will make it public, make that part public so that you guys can all see it, especially the ones that want to find it. All right, my loves. Well, we will go into MK Ultra later, more later. Right now, we are just learning how MK Ultra started in America under the guise of national security, and all of the high-ranking Nazi officials who then they just made stuff up for them, like NASA, because they all of a sudden had a space race. They wanted to be Russia. And that'll actually take us into propaganda and persuasion. I love propaganda and persuasion. Okay, perhaps, so we will go into MK Ultra more, and I'll explain more of it, but I wanted to lay that foundation. To me, you can't understand it from just MK Ultra, because there are also so many offshoots of it. We'll go through that. I started making a mind map for it. BJ Investigates makes them. She calls it My Map is Mapping. Yes, and okay, so I could listen. Yes, we will talk about MK Ultra. You've been a victim of MK Ultra just by being an American. That's in our media. Like our media is run by the CIA. Okay, Brett Payne. Yeah, he's a scumbag. Brett Payne, if you're here, I have no respect for you. And I'm going, yeah, he's a scumbag. Okay, perhaps that's why there are so many bipolar. Yes, this is actually the reason that there's I think so much bipolar and borderline personality disorders is also because we're not taught how to connect to source. When you are separated from source, you can have, and if you don't, no one's taught how to protect their energy, and it's really easy to get possessed. But if you have the prayers, there are prayers in here in the description of this. Grab them, and I highly recommend doing them every day and doing them before bed too, because you do a lot of traveling in your sleep. So yeah, this is a disconnect. This is a cultural thing, I think, and a disconnect from source. And the same doctors, we're going to go through this when we get to MK Ultra more, the same doctors that are creating these problems are the ones that the shrinks that you go to. And they're all funded BlackRock and the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah, there are so many things. Yeah. So if you need the prayers, they're in the description of this video. If you'd like to help us with the Earth Grid, that would be amazing. And I would love it. Those are also in the description of this video. Thank you. And don't worry, we're not done with our MK Ultra. We just need to lay the groundwork for Operation Paperclip. and why we're all here. And Americans, I get a lot of my news from our friends that don't live in America because ours is so censored or just straight up lies. And that's okay. Obama passed that it's okay to do that. Thank you all so much for coming. You're welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. It was so nice to see you. For our members, I am going to end this here to Kelly. Yes, just a second. I see your email and probably yes, but I can't remember it right now. For members, I'm going to close this, jump on over to the members only. We'll talk over there. And if you're not a member and you'd like to come, please join us. And for everyone else, I love you and I will see you next week. Well, and I'll see you in between then. Good night.